Anthony Joshua is confirmed by an offer for him to fight in Ghana, okay? And as it stands, we have no conversation with Nigeria, but what we have had is a site visit in Accra, Ghana, and they have made an offer. We are very interested in going there in the early part of 2026. And there's Hearn on Anthony Joshua. And let me counterpunch. We know that AJ's been wanting to fight in Africa, the continent of some part of it, for quite some time. Ideally, it is Nigeria because he's Nigerian. You know, his parents are Nigerian. He has Nigerian roots. So, no, that being said, I can understand him wanting to go there. But Accra, Ghana, is also a historical place for boxing figures throughout. That is a good second choice, I might add. You know what I mean? If you wanted to showcase in Africa, because one thing about Africa is just like football. Africa is a fan of boxing, of the sport, and AJ coming there being African, right? I think could make a buzz. I think he is marketable wherever he goes, honestly, including the USA, which I feel he should come back. But, I digress. But nonetheless, that would be a good fight to come back with AJ, because not only he gets to open a new market, so to speak, with Ghana, but he's also cracks in his ability to break that cycle of inactivity. You know what I mean? This fight in Accra, Ghana is a showcase fight. It is a tune-up fight. And then he gets to break in another market. That being said, all three of those things are good, and he gets to kill many birds with one stone. You know what I mean? And I like the idea. Why not? I think the most important part is, though, getting his ass back into the ring. No cap, because he took a whole year off. He took a year and some months off, and then depending on when next year he fights, if it's early, when, January, okay, well, there you go. But let's say it's March, so that's 3 months into the new year, on top of a year, so that's 15 months, on top of, when was it that he got defeated by Danny Dubois? What was it, October? Was it October, November? I believe it was in October. So if it is October, that lets you know that, look, that's 16 months out of, no. That's possibly 18 months out of the ring. So you don't want to keep piling on months of inactivity, especially being an older fighter, because you do need activity, and I think what helped AJ was activity when he did fight 3 times. The first performance, wasn't that good, against Jermaine Franklin. But, of course, he had the cobwebs from the meltdown from Usyk, the 2 defeats from that. And then he fought Robert Helenius, where he went through a battle because they changed opponents on him. And then at the end of the year, he looked very impressive against Otto Wylien, which Otto Wylien, from his reputation at that point, he was very, very hard to look good against. So we have to take that under advisement, that Otto Wylien is a, kind of a tricky southpaw with his awkward style, and AJ made it look easy in there. You know what I mean? So I think that contributes to the activity. So we need to get AJ active, especially if they're pushing his, retirement date to another year, right? And it's not next year due to the inactivity this year. I think he has time to rebuild that craft or to get him in there with guys that's going to work out the cobwebs. So hopefully he gets to do that in Accra, Ghana, or maybe because Nigeria may see that that Ghana wants him, they may want to put in another bid. So it may be a competition thing over here. But you guys tell me what you think of Anthony Joshua possibly fighting, has an offer in Accra, Ghana, to showcase his comeback fight. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!